Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. If Angel Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young.
The sports world is buzzing after Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless went scorched earth on Angel Reese in their latest debate, and the intensity has left fans shocked. In a segment that aired just minutes ago, the two sports icons didn't hold back, dissecting every angle of the Reese versus Clark conversation with unfiltered opinions. Angel Reese, one of college basketball's brightest stars, suddenly found herself at the center of a national spotlight, and not all of it was positive. The debate was heated, personal, and relentless, leaving social media erupting with reactions, memes, and heated discussion. Stephen A. and Skip, both known for their bold takes, took aim at Reese's performance, decisions, and influence in the ongoing Clark debate. They challenged her consistency, questioned her approach to the media, and even criticized how she handles comparisons to other top players. Fans watching live were stunned at the level of critique, noting that even experienced commentators rarely come down this hard on such a young athlete. Social media exploded instantly. Some fans rushed to defend Reese, while others agreed with the analysts, sparking one of the most polarizing conversations in women's college basketball this season. What made the debate so explosive wasn't just the criticism, it was the timing and context. Reese has been navigating intense scrutiny from fans, opponents, and the media, and this segment added fuel to the fire. The discussion wasn't limited to her on-court performance. It also touched on off-court leadership, media interactions, and the ongoing narrative comparing her to Caitlin Clark. By the end of the segment, Reese was trending across platforms, and the conversation had exploded into forums, comment sections, and TikTok videos, with viewers dissecting every word from Stephen A. and Skip. Now, the big question remains: how will Angel Reese respond? Will this criticism impact her focus and performance, or will it ignite a fire that propels her to even greater heights? Fans are waiting, analysts are speculating, and the sports world is watching every move. This isn't just commentary. It's a defining moment in Reese's career and the larger debate over who truly dominates the women's college basketball scene. The fallout from Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless's brutal critique of Angel Reese continued to dominate conversations across social media and sports circles. Fans, analysts, and commentators were dissecting the debate, replaying clips, and debating every word the two sports pundits had said. The criticism wasn't just about statistics or on-court performance. It touched on leadership, decision-making, and Reese's role in high-pressure moments. While some viewers argued that the analysis was fair and necessary, many others felt it crossed a line, pointing out that Reese is still a young player navigating an intense spotlight in one of the most competitive stages of women's college basketball. Inside Reese's camp, the reaction was a mix of frustration and reflection. Sources close to the star indicated that she and her team had been closely monitoring social media trends and fan reactions. The segment aired at a critical moment in the season, with Reese preparing for upcoming high-stakes games and NCAA matchups. The added layer of scrutiny created pressure not only to perform on the court, but also to manage her public image. Advisors reportedly suggested strategies for handling media inquiries and social media narratives to avoid giving critics additional ammunition. Every action now had to be carefully calculated, balancing focus on performance with a need to maintain composure amid controversy. Fans on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok quickly split into camps. Some rallied behind Reese, emphasizing her resilience, athleticism, and accomplishments despite being relatively young in the national spotlight. Supporters highlighted her ability to compete at the highest level and maintain poise under intense pressure, arguing that the critique from seasoned commentators failed to account for her maturity and adaptability. Memes, reaction videos, and supportive posts flooded feeds, showing fans standing by Reese as the debate continued to trend. Others, however, sided with Stephen A. and Skip, dissecting Reese's decision-making and comparing her performance with peers like Caitlin Clark. They argued that in moments of pressure, her approach sometimes lacked consistency, particularly in high-profile games where attention is magnified. Critics suggested that while Reese possesses incredible talent, The gap between potential and execution is what the pundits were pointing out. The commentary highlighted the high expectations placed on elite athletes, where every decision is scrutinized, and public perception can be as influential as performance. Within the media industry, the debate also sparked discussions about the responsibility of commentators. Stephen A. and Skip are known for their fiery opinions, but many wondered if targeting a young athlete so aggressively could have unintended consequences. Experts noted that women's sports already face unique pressures and that public criticism, especially on a national stage, can shape not just fan perception but also opportunities for endorsements, professional growth, and media coverage. The segment raised questions about how athletes navigate criticism, mental health, and the expectations of being constantly compared to peers in a highly competitive environment. Meanwhile, Reese's opponents and rival teams watched closely. Analysts suggested that the debate could influence game strategy, as teams may attempt to exploit perceived weaknesses highlighted by Stephen A. and Skip. While some argued this added an extra challenge for Reese, others believed it could serve as motivation, pushing her to elevate her performance in response to public critique. Coaches reportedly emphasized focusing on fundamentals, staying disciplined, and using media attention as a tool to strengthen resilience rather than letting it become a distraction. By the end of Part 2, it was evident that the impact of the debate extended beyond a single segment or critique. It had sparked discussions about athlete scrutiny, media influence, and the pressures placed on young players navigating national attention. Angel Reese's reputation, public perception, and mental focus were now intertwined with a narrative shaped by media giants, fans, and social media commentary. The question remained, would she rise above the criticism and prove herself on the court, or would the intensity of the spotlight create obstacles she wasn't prepared for? As the controversy surrounding Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless's critique of Angel Reese continued to escalate, the intensity of public scrutiny reached a fever pitch. Social media platforms became a battleground of opinions, debates, and reactions, with fans dissecting every moment of the segment. Clips of Stephen A. questioning Reese's decision-making and Skip Bayless analyzing her consistency went viral almost immediately, sparking thousands of comments and shares. Some supporters framed the debate as unfair, arguing that Reese, as a young athlete, was being held to an unrealistic standard, while others embraced the critique as part of the reality of elite-level competition. The sheer volume of online engagement highlighted the level of influence these commentators wield, showing just how much impact their words can have on public perception. Within Reese's team, the reaction was deliberate and measured. Coaches, mentors, and advisors reportedly gathered to discuss the segment and its potential implications. While the criticism stung, insiders emphasized the importance of focusing on preparation, discipline, and maintaining mental toughness. Sources suggested that Reese was encouraged to view the critique as an opportunity rather than a setback, an assessment of areas for growth that could fuel her development rather than define her. This approach reflected a strategic mindset. In the high-pressure world of college athletics, the ability to absorb criticism and channel it into performance is often what separates great players from legends. Fans quickly polarized. On one side were those who criticized the harshness of the analysis, emphasizing Reese's accomplishments, skill level, and rising profile. They pointed out her resilience in high-stakes games and her ability to perform consistently against top-tier competition. Many highlighted the intense pressure young athletes face, particularly when compared to established stars like Caitlin Clark, noting that Reese's trajectory should be evaluated in context. Supporters flooded social media with messages of encouragement, memes celebrating her athleticism, and posts praising her for remaining composed under scrutiny. On the other side were critics who agreed with Stephen A. and Skip, claiming that Reese's approach in certain games revealed inconsistencies that needed addressing. Analysts dissected game footage, highlighting moments where decision-making, composure, or leadership appeared questionable. They argued that the segment served as a wake-up call, emphasizing that elite athletes must navigate both performance and public perception. Critics suggested that this type of scrutiny is inevitable for players of Reese's caliber, reinforcing the idea that media commentary, though intense, reflects the high standards of elite sports. The segment also sparked broader conversations about the role of commentators in shaping athlete narratives. Sports media insiders debated whether Stephen A. and Skip's approach was constructive or unnecessarily harsh. While their reputation for bold opinions is well established, some argue that targeting a young athlete in such a public and relentless manner carries risks. Concerns were raised about mental health, public image, and the pressures placed on emerging stars in women's sports. The debate underscored the delicate balance between critique, entertainment, and responsibility in sports media. Meanwhile, opposing teams and analysts watched closely. Some believe the heightened attention could influence game strategies, as rivals might exploit perceived weaknesses highlighted by the segment. Coaches encouraged Reese to maintain focus, reinforcing fundamentals and emphasizing the importance of blocking out external noise. The challenge was clear: turn media scrutiny into motivation without letting it become a distraction or undermine confidence. By the end of Part 3, it was evident that the segment had shifted the conversation about Reese from pure performance to narrative management. Her ability to respond, both on the court and in public perception, would shape how fans, commentators, and peers viewed him moving forward. The debate had turned into more than a critique. It had become a defining moment, testing Reese's resilience, focus, and strategic thinking under pressure. The question remained: would she rise above the criticism, or would the weight of public scrutiny create challenges too large to ignore? As the storm over Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless's critique of Angel Reese intensified, social media became a lightning rod for heated debates and viral reactions. Every clip from the segment circulated rapidly on platforms like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, with fans dissecting the analysis frame by frame. Memes, reaction videos, and comment threads erupted, turning the discussion into one of the most trending topics in college basketball that week. Some fans defended Reese fervently, highlighting her extraordinary talent, resilience, and ability to perform under pressure. Others argued that the scrutiny was fair, emphasizing that elite athletes are inevitably judged not just on performance but also on how they handle pressure, media attention, and comparisons to peers. The digital conversation amplified the stakes, making what could have been a contained sports debate into a nationwide cultural event. Within Reese's camp, the reaction was strategic and deliberate. Coaches, mentors, and advisors encouraged her to focus on what she could control: her preparation, skill development, and mental focus, rather than getting consumed by criticism. Sources indicated that Reese spent hours reviewing game footage, not just for performance improvement but also to anticipate areas where critics might find fault. The aim was to channel external pressure into motivation, turning scrutiny into an opportunity for growth. Advisors also monitored social media activity closely, identifying both supportive and critical narratives so that Reese could respond selectively without becoming distracted. This approach underscored the importance of mental toughness and media management for young athletes navigating the spotlight. Fans' reactions were highly polarized, creating two distinct narratives. Supporters praised Reese for her resilience, highlighting moments where she had dominated games and led her team under high-pressure situations. They celebrated her athleticism, leadership, and poise, arguing that she was being unfairly scrutinized because of her youth and prominence in women's college basketball. Memes celebrating her performances flooded social feeds, while discussion threads praised her ability to maintain focus despite relentless public attention. On the other side, critics dissected her performance, pointing out moments of inconsistency or questionable decision-making. Analysts and commentators emphasized that while Reese had immense talent, elite athletes are constantly evaluated under intense scrutiny, and handling criticism is part of the journey toward greatness. The debate also reignited the ongoing conversation about Reese versus Caitlin Clark, which had already been a central storyline in college basketball. Comparisons between the two players, whether about scoring, leadership, or composure, added fuel to the controversy. Fans of both players used the segment to argue their points, and social media threads exploded with side-by-side statistics, highlight reels, and debates over who deserved recognition. Some suggested that the harsh critique from Stephen A. and Skip unfairly tilted the conversation in Clark's favor, while others argued that it highlighted areas where Reese could improve to match or surpass her rival. From an industry perspective, the segment served as a reminder of how influential sports media personalities can be in shaping narratives. Stephen A. and Skip have long been known for their unapologetic opinions, and their assessment of Reese reached a massive audience. Analysts noted that this type of commentary can impact not just public perception, but also opportunities for endorsements, media appearances, and professional growth. The scrutiny reinforces the reality that elite athletes, particularly in women's sports, must navigate both the game and the narrative surrounding them, balancing performance with image management. The segment also spurred tactical adjustments among Reese's coaching staff. Observers noted that coaches emphasized preparation, focus, and execution, framing media attention as an additional motivator rather than a distraction. By honing fundamentals and mental resilience, Reese could leverage the debate to fuel her performance rather than letting criticism undermine confidence. Behind the scenes, the coaching staff reportedly reinforced the importance of selective media engagement, ensuring that public attention did not create unnecessary pressure. By the end of Part 4, it was evident that the impact of the segment extended far beyond a single debate. It had sparked discussions about athlete scrutiny, media influence, fan loyalty, and the high-pressure dynamics of elite college basketball. Angel Reese's ability to respond to criticism, to comparisons with Caitlin Clark, and to the heightened public attention would determine not just her immediate performance but also her long-term trajectory in the sport. The conversation had evolved from simple analysis to a defining moment, testing her focus, resilience, and strategic thinking under the brightest of spotlights. The aftermath of Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless's scathing critique of Angel Reese sent shockwaves throughout the college basketball world, and by the time Part 5 unfolded, the full scope of the fallout became undeniable. Social media continued to buzz, with fans dissecting every word, clip, and reaction from the segment. Videos went viral, memes spread like wildfire, and comment sections across platforms exploded with heated debates. Supporters of Reese flooded feeds with praise, emphasizing her poise, resilience, and talent, while critics doubled down on arguments about perceived inconsistencies in her performance and leadership. The conversation transcended the court, evolving into a broader discussion about athlete scrutiny, media influence, and the pressures placed on rising stars. Within Reese's camp, the reaction was methodical. Coaches, advisors, and mentors worked closely with her to ensure that she approached the situation strategically, balancing public perception with performance. Reese reportedly spent extra hours analyzing her own game footage, identifying moments that might have been misinterpreted or highlighted by critics. Instead of allowing the media firestorm to distract her, she used it as motivation to refine her skills, enhance her court awareness, and improve her decision-making under pressure. Advisors also guided her on managing social media, ensuring that her public interactions projected confidence and maturity without escalating tension. This careful approach highlighted the importance of both mental toughness and strategic communication for elite athletes. The public reaction was starkly divided. Supporters praised Reese for maintaining focus despite intense scrutiny. They highlighted her performances in clutch situations, her ability to carry her team, and her growing presence in the national spotlight. Fan campaigns, hashtags, and viral videos celebrated her talent and determination, framing the critique as an unfair attempt to overshadow her accomplishments. Memes, social media threads, and video montages showcased her best moments, turning public attention into a rallying point for Reese's supporters. Meanwhile, critics analyzed her gameplay and leadership style, asserting that even the brightest stars have areas for improvement. They argued that Stephen A. and Skip's critique served as a necessary wake-up call for Reese to refine her approach, emphasizing that elite athletes are continuously tested by pressure, competition, and public scrutiny. The debate also reignited comparisons with Caitlin Clark, intensifying fan and media discussion. Analysts highlighted differences in scoring, leadership, and on-court decision-making between the two stars, using Reese's critique as a benchmark for evaluating performance. Social media exploded with statistical analyses, highlight reels, and heated fan commentary, fueling the rivalry and keeping both players in the national conversation. For Reese, this heightened attention represented both an opportunity and a challenge. On one hand, she could use the scrutiny to motivate herself and prove her skill. On the other, persistent comparisons and public critique risked creating added pressure that could affect her mental focus. In the broader context of women's college basketball, the segment sparked discussion about how young athletes are evaluated and the role of media personalities in shaping narratives. Stephen A. and Skip's commentary demonstrated the influence that high-profile analysts wield, particularly in amplifying critiques that can affect public perception and professional opportunities. Experts noted that Reese's ability to navigate this environment could have long-term implications, not just for her own career but for how emerging athletes manage media pressure and public opinion in the future. Meanwhile, Reese's coaching staff worked diligently to frame the debate as a motivational tool. Practice sessions became focused on decision-making under pressure, leadership communication, and maintaining composure in high-stakes moments. Coaches emphasized that criticism, even when public or harsh, could serve as a catalyst for growth and improvement. Reese reportedly embraced this mindset, using every piece of feedback, direct or indirect, as fuel to elevate her game. Her ability to internalize criticism without letting it erode confidence highlighted her maturity and strategic approach, distinguishing her from peers who might falter under similar circumstances. By the end of Part 5, Angel Reese's response to the debate had solidified her position as a rising star capable of handling scrutiny, criticism, and intense public attention. While Stephen A. and Skip's critique had placed her under a national microscope, she had turned the moment into a demonstration of resilience, focus, and adaptability. Fans, analysts, and fellow athletes watched closely, recognizing that her trajectory in college basketball, and potentially beyond, depended as much on how she navigated pressure as on her raw talent. The narrative had shifted. Reese was no longer just a player being evaluated on stats and highlights. She was a figure embodying perseverance, strategic thinking, and mental toughness in the face of widespread public critique. Ultimately, the debate and its aftermath became a defining moment in Reese's career. It highlighted the dual pressures faced by young athletes, performance on the court and perception of it, while showcasing the importance of focus, preparation, and mental resilience. In a world where media scrutiny can be relentless, Angel Reese demonstrated that skill, confidence, and strategy could transform critique into opportunity. What had started as a challenging public moment evolved into a testament to her growing influence, maturity, and potential to dominate women's college basketball for years to come. Angel Reese just faced one of the most intense public critiques of her career, and the fallout is massive. Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless didn't hold back, and fans are divided, some defending Reese, others agreeing with the analysts. Now more than ever, this is a defining moment in her journey, testing her focus, resilience, and ability to thrive under pressure. If you want to stay on top of every update, breakdown, and fan reaction, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for real-time coverage. Turn on notifications so you never miss a single moment of this ongoing debate. Drop a comment below and let us know. Can Angel Reese rise above the criticism and solidify her legacy, or will this segment change how the nation sees her? Share this video with everyone watching the Clark vs. Reese saga unfold. It's trending, it's explosive, and you don't want to miss a second of the action.